Hey, loves. Welcome back to another episode of the Aligned and Magnetic Podcast, Season 2 of Pulling Back the Curtain, what it's like to actually run a business behind the scenes, because it's not all sunshine and rainbows. And I think a lot of people, including myself, underestimate what it really takes to run a business. Before we get into today, I want to show you these cute mugs that are inside of the Aligned and Magnetic podcast shop and available for your purchase. I've sent some out to clients and listeners, and they absolutely are in love with them. They use them every day for their morning coffee or tea, and I love just reminding myself every morning while I'm making my coffee that I am a magnet for my desires, and that manifestation starts with me. It's not just that things come to you because you're magical and whatever. And for sure, people can get lucky or unlucky in this world. But whenever we want to create something different for ourselves, for our lives, it always starts with yourself, because you are attracting everything in your reality. And that's what I know to be true and what I have experienced and tested time and time again. So go and grab your mug. They are discounted for the release, for the launch of this season 2. So you can go and grab yours at a discount. So today I really want to dive into this post that I created on Threads the other day. And for context, actually, no, I'll give context later. So the post was, sometimes the universe creates obstacles for your own good and we just don't know it yet. Trust it. Now I want to dive deeper into this because there, of course, with everything are nuances, and I don't want you guys going around thinking like, oh, the universe just created 1.5 million obstacles for me, therefore I should never pursue my dreams or like start my dream business or create my dream business, or I'm at the universe, at the mercy of the universe, whatever it is, right? And so the reason this came up is because somebody commented saying, I see these as a test. Like the universe is saying, hey, how bad do you want it? And my reply to this was, definitely sometimes can be a test, or what I believe is that it's your subconscious mind actually showing you where you still don't believe that you can have it. Because actually we're going to dive into this a little bit more, but the subconscious mind, it takes time for us to shift deeply rooted beliefs. It takes time for us to step into our power. I don't think it just, just because you did a journaling session or you've been working on changing a belief for a really long time does not necessarily mean that it's going to come with zero obstacles. It doesn't mean that all of a sudden one day you're going to wake up and poof, those beliefs are going to be gone. No, it has to be something that you continue to kind of put into action and prove to yourself that you can, move beyond those subconscious beliefs or blocks. And so anyway, I'll dive deeper into that. So the reason that I posted this in the first place, that the universe sometimes creates blocks for our own good and we just don't know it yet, is because my wife had a flight booked to go to Orlando. We are going to Disney World. By the time that this episode airs, we'll already have gone, but I'm sure it will have been a blast, and you can probably see recaps on my Instagram stories, in my highlights or in a reel. So she was set to go in the morning, and we're currently sharing our neighbor's car with a friend of theirs because our neighbors are away. And so we're like, hey, do you mind if we borrow the car? We're going to drop off, actually I didn't even give details that we were catching a flight. So that maybe was partly my mistake. But essentially what happened is we woke up, we're ready to go, 7:30 a.m. We go knocking on the door and no one answers, and they have the keys to the car. And then, so we start ringing the doorbell, no one's answering. We're like, fuck, now what? Because, we were planning to take the car, so it's not like we had alternative, ride situations planned out. So Alexis is like incessantly ringing the doorbell. I'm trying to figure out like, okay, which of our taxi friends can take us, who's got time to take us to the airport, or take her anyway. And finally, our friend's friend comes down and was like, oh my God, I'm so sorry. I didn't know that this was a doorbell. So for context, the doorbells in Mexico, well, at least where we live, sound like fucking jail cell, like door opening situations. It's awful, like the worst sound in the freaking world. And it's on our list to change the noise because it's so jarring. It like has this way of really irritating your ears and like completely changing. I mean, obviously we're always in control of how we respond and how we feel and all of that, but like I'm just envisioning a life where my life is better when people ring the doorbell, because the doorbell sounds like fun and like inviting and not like you want to, start a fight or something like that. So he didn't know that was the doorbell. So we get the keys. Finally, it was like 15 minutes later, one of my taxi friends at the same time was like, oh, I can take you, but it'll take me 5 to 10 minutes to get there. I was like, never mind, we got it. So we get in the car, we start driving there. Obviously, she's, frustrated. I'm frustrated. And I'm speeding there, right? There's no cars on the street. Well, there are cars, but I'm able to safely speed us to the airport. We get there in under 20 minutes. And that's the beauty of living where we live. Like, we are so close to the Cancun airport, which is an international airport. And I just had to mention that because it's like perfect for people who travel a lot. So we get there in under 20 minutes. I'm giving her a nice big hug, and she's got time. Like, she's got, I think, maybe like 30 minutes before they close the how you have to drop your bag off an hour before the flight. So she's got 30 minutes before they close that. And she goes in, I'm gone already, and she texts me. I'm like, oh my God. And on top of this, I have to add something else. So I had realized that I locked us out. Like at 7 o'clock in the morning, I had not had my coffee yet, and I forgot to grab keys on the way out. So I lock us out. She obviously doesn't have any keys. Oh my God, there's a beautiful hummingbird right outside my office window. Oh my God, hi. Oh, it just flew right in front of my face. Beautiful. Hi. Okay. Oh, it's green. Oh my God, hi. It keeps coming back. Okay, sorry. So, Alexis didn't grab keys. Obviously, she's leaving. Why the fuck would she have keys? And we've done this before. This isn't new. Like, we have locked ourselves out of the house before and had to like break into our own house. And so that was a thing. I actually have a copy because my neighbors are away. I had a copy of their keys. The only problem was that they were inside the house. So we couldn't get inside of our house to unlock the neighbor's door to grab the car keys quickly. Anyway, that was a big part of the equation. So I'm back in town. I'm at my mother-in-law's place trying to find our house keys because she thankfully has a copy. First, I have to go get somebody else's keys to my mother-in-law's place to be able to go into her place. It was a whole thing. And so I'm there trying to look in her house for our keys. Alexis texts me and she's like, I'm not making it on my flight. And I'm like, no fucking way. So I pick her up. I have to drive all the way back to Cancun and pick her up. And she's like, yeah, I was there like for 20 minutes talking to a person, and they were telling me like, oh, you have to buy this like visa thing. And it's not a visa because she's a citizen here. So, but because she has dual citizenship or something, she had to like get some paper or something. And she was like, okay, like we got to get going. Like, the person helping her, the attendant, I guess, should have seen the time. And oh my God, this hummingbird just keeps coming and saying hello to me. It like right up its face right in my window. Okay. So the attendant should have known, right? Like, okay, we got to get this woman on her flight. Like it's, cutting it close. And ultimately she just kept talking and this and that. And they wanted to charge her for this. And then whatever. And she ended up, by the time that she got what she needed, the bag thing opportunity was closed and she missed it by 4 minutes. And so yeah, that was a whole thing. We ended up finding her a different flight to fly out later on that day. But the whole point of this story is that, you know, it wasn't just like our neighbors not waking up, you know, or answering the door. It wasn't just that. It was me locking us out of the house where I had keys to get into the neighbor's house to grab the keys, which we had permission to do. It was the neighbors not hearing the doorbell and not waking up. It was then we get there early enough and the flight person, not attendant, but the service provider at the desk, at the counter, then like took forever to get her situated and they weren't paying attention to time. And then they were like all rigid about it and all of this stuff. And so there were 3 major obstacles that happened that just made it impossible for her to get onto her flight. Like I said, we got there early enough, she could have made it, but there was some sort of reason why she was not meant to be on that flight. I don't think anything bad happened, but, you know, I don't know, anything could have happened. There could have been a person on that flight or like some sort of situation that maybe just wasn't right for her. And so the way that I now, as opposed to in the past, when I would, you know, probably freak out at a situation like this, the way that I like to see this now is that the universe is always working in our favor, right? And so sure, it sucked. She had to pay an extra $150 to catch a different flight to Orlando, but she still got there. You know what I mean? And for whatever reason, like 3 consecutive situations prevented her from getting on the flight, right? And so this is what I'm talking about when it comes to the universe creating obstacles. Now, we didn't like at the first obstacle decide to throw our hands up and be like, oh, we're not making it on the flight. Like, no, we still, or like at the sign when I locked us out of the house, we weren't like, oh shit, like, we can't go to the airport now because we both have to find a way into the house. No, like we still took the action that we needed to take in order to get her on the flight. It's just that obviously the action that we took didn't matter because she wasn't meant to be on that flight. This can happen a lot in business, right? Obstacle after obstacle after obstacle can present itself. And I think that sometimes this can be our subconscious mind testing us or showing us where we lack belief in ourselves, where our energy or our mindset is not in alignment with the future version of ourselves that we've maybe created or that we're striving to be, or that we are, trying to be. So I remember when I was launching, I think it was my 5-day Beat the Bloat challenge, and I got sick, like really sick on day 4 or day 5, I can't remember. I remember messaging my coach though and being like, what do I do? I'm really sick. I don't know what to do. Like, do I still show up and try my best? Do I just lay in bed? Like, I don't know. And she was like, honestly, like, it's up to you, but if it were me, I would still show up and do my best to be there. And it's so interesting because I did show up, but I felt like I had underperformed. And I think like looking back on this now, it was kind of more of a perfectionistic mentality. And then I think I didn't show up for the next day or something like that. And definitely the perfectionist in me was like, oh, I didn't give it my all. Like, no wonder I didn't get the results, blah, 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 blah. And I think high achievers are overachievers. Like if you're anything like me, you strive to be your best. You want to create the best for yourself. And it's possible that you come from a childhood that placed a lot of responsibility on you and that you have this like incessant need to be perfect or to do things at a very high level. And so we can create all of these stories and all of this drama in our mind for why things didn't turn out the way that they were meant to. And I think that honestly, if you take all of that drama away, like, I, got sick, so I couldn't perform my best, and that's why I didn't get the results that I wanted. Or, like, I got sick and I didn't show up, and therefore that's, we can create all of these different reasons as to why we're not getting the results that we want. And I think there's two things to consider here. I think that the first thing to consider is that it takes time to get results, and I always say numbers, or business is not a numbers game, it's a relationships game. And I don't want to say like, oh, it's a relationships game as in like go and build all these phony relationships. That's not what I'm saying whatsoever. It's more of like, we are here to build relationships with people, and especially in a business that is so centered around helping people, it's still about building relationships with people and seeing like how you can help them, how you can serve them. And even beyond that, it's about creating relationships with people who might be somewhere that you're not, so that you can learn from them and seek mentorship or guidance, right? So business is all about relationships. You can't build a successful business if you're just sitting inside of your house, like trying to, manipulate or like create like the best sales funnel or whatever. And I say this knowing that, sure, maybe that reality exists for some people. However, people who are meant to be working with people like you and I, this type of business strategy is not going to work. Like, we are people that need to have relationship with other people. We are people that thrive off of our connections with other people. We are people who are meant to be leaders in this world. And so if you have this deep feeling that you are here for a bigger purpose, and this is really what it boils down to, is like, if you have a bigger purpose, then you need to be building relationships with people, right? Okay, all of that said, so business is about building relationships. It's not just about numbers. However, when you're first starting out and you're just launching something for the first time ever, it is unlikely, unless you're like a master marketer and a master storyteller and a master at copywriting, it's very unlikely that you're going to get the results that you like are mind-blowing. You know what I mean? And I'm not saying that you can't get any results. I'm not suggesting that, it's so out of reach for you to expect big results. Not at all. I'm just saying, when you get lost in your mind and try to make up all of these reasons or try to really parse apart everything, like, stop making it about yourself and start looking at realistically, like, let's be fucking real. Where are we on the trajectory of building a business? Year 1 and year 2, and I would even argue year 3, are like very much trial and error years. At least they were for me. I was like trying out different niches, testing out different products, seeing what felt good to talk about. And I was so hard on myself during those years. Like, I honestly just wish that I released the pressure and just like fully embraced the experience of like putting my investigator hat on or my scientist hat on to like see what felt good to talk about and see, who I like to help, who I like to serve, and like, oh, okay, that's not really working over here. That's okay, let's go play over here, instead of putting so much pressure on myself to make my business work. Because I think that, I absolutely know for fucking sure that pressure led to a lot of emotional breakdowns, a lot of challenges, a lot of things that I probably could have just maybe seen from a different perspective. And it's fine. I don't regret any of it. I'm entering this stage of my life where I can like offer that wisdom to my clients and offer that wisdom to you as my listener, which is really amazing, because I can be like, hey girl, like, don't do that. And it's like obviously easier said than done. But the main message I want to drive home here is like, let's be realistic. Let's look at like, how much business experience do you have? Do you have an MBA? Do you have a master's in like marketing? Have you taken any marketing courses? You know what I mean? And that is, I just had this other thought come through that I want to talk about in a different episode, but that's what I want you to look at. And then also with that, like, yes, we do need to consider the numbers. How big of an audience are you speaking to? How many relationships are you intentionally going out there and building? I remember in the beginning of my business, I was so afraid of, like, I just wanted to put the thing out there and, you know, people respond to me and, like, that's it. Instead of really stepping into myself as a leader, and instead of stepping into the results that I wanted to create, it was more like, okay, let me see, like, who wants this. And I was kind of like afraid, I think, of really engaging with people and really putting myself out there, which it's funny looking back because it's like, well, girl, like, you had something and you have something, and now I'm much better at doing this. You have something that the world really needs from you. These people are coming to you for a reason. They're in your challenge for a reason, but you're so afraid to reach out and to offer that help and that support. Why? Right? Like, why? People are in your audience, they're engaging with you, they're responding to you, they're on your email list for a reason. Why are you so opposed to showing up and serving or asking how you can help them, right? If you approach business from a place of, how can I help? What do I have to offer? What can I give? Like, what are people really willing to put money into because they need this big issue solved, right? Or they really want to know how to do X. And when we can approach business from that perspective versus, like, I'm just in it for the money and I'm here to create, like, a life of freedom and whatever, then we're going to have a much harder time with the latter than if we were to approach business from a place of really truly serving from the heart. And that's what essentially my entire work focuses on, is like, okay, how do we take off, because this is going to be another episode on the podcast, but how do we remove those blockages from the heart? Because so many of us, I think, are walking around with wounds. Like, we've been mistreated, we've been made fun of, we've been told that, we can't be loved, or that we need to be better, or that this or that, or, all these different things, or we've been ghosted, we've been blocked, we've been left on red. And all of these things, when we look at them, can lead to us closing off our heart because we are hurt, we feel like it's personal, when sometimes it's really not personal, and it's more about the other person than it is you. So I realize I've gone off on a huge tangent here, but I want to circle back to this whole idea of sometimes the universe creates obstacles because it's for your own good, and sometimes the universe creates obstacles because it's actually your subconscious mind showing you where you still don't believe you can have it. And so what I want to just lean into here is, I talk a lot about ease, right? In my business, on my podcast, whatever. If you've been in my neck of the woods for any period of time, then you know all about how I talk about ease. And I truly do believe that we can step into this ease. And actually, I believe that when we take off that pressure, the stress, and really work on calming our nervous system and not being so much in that, like, hyper masculinity like we've been taught to do. I think feminism has really led to a lot of this, like, be independent, do this. And it's like, and be all these things for everybody except for yourself, right? And I think that, like, of course, parts of feminism are really great. However, when we're trying to step into this, like, being everything for everybody, being so independent, like, people are not, if you look at every other fucking species, we're not designed to be siloed. We're not designed to be I. We are designed to be we's. We are designed to be supported. We are designed to have community, and that's when we thrive the most, right? So when we focus so much on I, and there's so many women that I know, including myself, who are really here to make their mark on the world, and who are really here with a bigger purpose, with something bigger to contribute to society. And if that's not you, that's okay. It doesn't matter. But what I want to really drive home here is that things can be easier when we're in our divine feminine, when we know that we're being divinely supported, when we know that our vision and our goals are there for us to reach, and they're a guiding post for us, and we can do that from a place of like deep surrenderedness, like a deep energy of surrender and a deep energy of like, you know, just the only way I can really describe it is being the magician and like playing with the energy of the universe. Like we can be this powerful goddess energy, but we are so like separated from that innerness that we are, that inner essence, that inner goddess that we have access to, because we have been so conditioned to pay attention over here, pay attention over there, do this, compete with this person. Oh my God, this person has this incredible life over here. And, well, you should probably work a little bit harder so that you can compete with that, or like compare yourself, or all of these different things, you know, like really the matrix and living in Western society and then moving to Mexico really gave me insight on how Western society is kind of programming people. That's a whole other conversation. Maybe we'll bring my wife on for that one because it's an interesting one. But when we work within that feminine and work on really stepping into using everything that we receive as feedback, and I teach this in my 6-step mindset framework. It's part of my program called Rise Goddess. And so if you want access to that, then see the link in the show notes. It's a very powerful tool to start to work with your reality instead of really seeing reality as like, oh, you know, I just can't have what I want yet, or you know, it's not fair, like this person has this thing. Like, no, your reality is actually responding to your energy. Your reality is responding to your frequency, to your beliefs, to what you feel into in terms of like your worthiness. Do you believe that you're worthy? Do you believe that you can have exactly what you want? And if not, then the universe is going to send you chaos. It's going to send you tests. It's going to challenge you because you used to believe that chaos needs to be a part of your story and your journey. I've worked with so many clients on really removing these obstacles and rewriting these stories. And it's really incredible how quickly they can step into exactly what the fuck they want. They thought this thing was going to be like 5 years down the line, like 3 years maybe, if we're lucky and work hard enough. No, like, and this even is for myself. You know, I thought that, okay, I'm going to have a business, but that's going to be like in 5 years. No, this can all be part of your reality right now, but we've got to remove the blocks and the chaos and the stories that are contradicting it, or that are putting up barriers to your success and to your divine ability to create exactly what you want, right? So my 6-step mindset framework is going to help you massively with this, to learn how to become more aware of your thoughts and how to work with the subconscious mind. Because if you didn't know, the subconscious mind is 95% of our brain, and most of us don't know what stories are going on in our heads. We are completely unaware of what's happening, but you can look at your behaviors, right? And the results that you have. Now, I'm not saying that, you know, although what the fuck, I feel so cautious of saying like absolute truths, because I don't believe in absolute truths. Like, I believe that we can seriously expedite our results. However, what I want you to know is that it's a journey. So I'm not saying that downloading the 6-step mindset is like the end all be all. You've got to learn how to work with it. You've got to learn how to apply it to your everyday life. And I would absolutely love to help you with that. If that's something that you're interested in, we can do this through one-on-one work together. Using the 6-step mindset framework changed my fucking life, right? Like, I started looking at, okay, Lauren, why are you procrastinating? Why are you avoiding this work that you know that you are called to do and you know that you can do, but you're not doing it? Why? Like, what's behind that, right? Or what's behind you manifesting this? For example, I was speaking earlier about how I got sick in the middle of my 5-day Beat the Bloat challenge, which was the launch to, I think, my Manifest Your Dream Body for Life, or maybe my one-on-one work. I can't remember. This was back like 5 years ago when I was health coaching. And so why did you manifest getting sick, right? Everything down to physical ailments is a manifestation. This is what I believe to be true and know to be true. Everything that manifests in the physical is a result of a deeply seated, or maybe not deeply seated, but some sort of mindset, belief, or limitation that you have. And it often lies in the subconscious mind because you don't necessarily know what the internal voice is. And once you become aware of the internal voice, then you're going to obviously hear your subconscious thoughts a lot more. And that will give you the opportunity to be able to work with it and notice, like, okay, this is what I've attracted. This is the belief that I have. This is coming through me over here. This obstacle is presenting itself. Okay, let's dive deeper into that. Like, what does this mean? Like, what underlying beliefs do I have that are maybe preventing me from moving forward? And this is actually how we get to that place of ease, because instead of forcing through, and this is what a lot of people do, I know you fucking do this. I know you do this because I've done it and I still do it sometimes. But we are so conditioned and trained to force through the obstacle, right? So if you're listening to this, you may either find yourself surrendering, like, oh, there's an obstacle, hands up, surrender, I'm done, I'm good, God, take the wheel, Jesus, take the fucking wheel. Or you are somebody that pushes through and you're like, oh yeah, universe, like, I'm gonna show you what I've got, like, push. But then you find yourself working late hours, you find yourself stressed the fuck out, you find yourself irritated and blowing up at your close family, maybe even your friends, your kids. You find yourself, wondering why shit's not working. You find yourself, like I said, working late and feeling really just tapped out, like burnt out, lack of creativity, lack of motivation, lack of inspiration. So my whole thing is, like, obviously finding the balance, because we need the masculine energy to support the feminine flow. And it takes time, right? It takes time to create the structure and the stability in our business so that we can just, like, bring in that divine feminine and be that creator, be the goddess of our vision, of our purpose, of the life that we get to create. And I'm telling you guys, like, I am not anyone special. Like, I'm here to teach you how you can be the creator of your life. I want you to know that I was in your shoes not long ago. Like, yes, I've been working on this for quite a few years now, and I've become really good at mindset, manifestation, and energy work. But I want you to know that I started right where you are, right? Like, if you have never heard of these terms, and, I'm going to argue that actually I probably started atrasada, how do you say that? Further back than you are. I started not really knowing or believing in God or the universe. I tried to believe, but I just didn't have this, like, complete faith, right? I didn't know how to work with my energy. I didn't know what mindset or beliefs were holding me back. And now that I'm here, I can teach you how to do this to help you get started to mastering your mindset and really stepping into your manifestation power. Rise Goddess is a really great program for this. It's 10 weeks and it's gonna change your fucking life. But all of that to say is that I'm not any different than you, and you can have exactly what you want. It's just honestly a matter of learning how to master your energy, how to tap into that subconscious mind, and choosing to do the motherfucking work, okay? I hope you guys enjoyed this episode. Remember to really tap into, the obstacles that are coming up for you. Keep going, keep trying your best, keep putting yourself out there, choose not to let them get you down, and really just look at, why are these obstacles presenting themselves? What, if anything, do I believe? What, if anything, do I not want? Oh my God, that is a whole other topic. Sometimes we manifest obstacles because we don't want the thing that we're asking for. This happens so often. Like, people will create these beliefs or these desires that actually they don't want, that they saw somebody else have, but they have zero desire for that thing. And so that's also something that could be happening there. So really, like, take the time to sit with yourself and to ask yourself these questions. Go and download my 6-step mindset process framework to help you master your mindset and to use this powerful tool in your everyday life. I swear it's going to help you so much with recognizing the reality that you're creating and diving deeper into the beliefs and subconscious limitations that you're putting on yourself to create the reality that you have instead of the reality that you want. Sending you so much love. Thank you so much for listening. If you loved this episode, I would love it if you left a review. These help me so much to kind of understand, what you're picking up, if you're picking up what I'm putting down. Not just that though, it really fills my heart with so much joy. So thank you for being here. I appreciate you. I would not have a podcast without you. And I love you. And I'm sending you waves of abundance. Hey love, thanks for tuning into today's episode. I hope you got the message that you needed today. Make sure to check out any links that I talked about, any programs or anything that I talked about is going to be linked in the show notes. Rise Goddess, let me tell you about this. Rise Goddess is launching very, very soon, and this program only comes around once every 2 years. It's such a potent program. It will change your freaking life. Everybody that goes through this program tells me like, Lauren, you should launch it again. You should launch it again. You should launch it again. It changed my life. So if you are ready to step into your power, connect with your intuition, and really leverage that connection to see success in your life that is authentic to you and your desires, while also squashing any limiting beliefs that are getting in your way, see the link below, because doors will be opening soon and they're only going to be open for about 2 weeks. So you're either going to want to get on the wait list or you're going to want to sign up right away if doors are open. All right. We will see you in the next episode. Thank you so much for being here.